The story opens inside a prestigious institution known as the Star Academy, a place unlike any ordinary school. On this particular day, the Academy's director, a respected man named Sang, stands before a large group of graduating students. One by one, he calls them forward, congratulating each student as they step up to receive their certificates after successfully passing their final exams. The atmosphere is formal, filled with pride and excitement, as students celebrate the results of their hard work. However, when it is time for a student named Tan to come forward, something unusual happens. Instead of appearing in person like everyone else, Tan sends his driver to collect the certificate on his behalf. This act immediately irritates many of his classmates, who see it as a clear display of arrogance and disrespect. Among those most offended is a student named Adam, who already harbors resentment toward Tan. Seeing this as the final straw, Adam decides that Tan needs to be taught a lesson. He gathers a group of like-minded students and waits for Tan after the ceremony, planning to confront him. Meanwhile, Tan's driver senses the tension and quickly contacts another student, Han, asking him to intervene and help Tan avoid trouble. But Han responds sarcastically, suggesting that instead of help they should prepare for injuries, as Adam and his group are known to be aggressive. What no one expects, however, is that Tan is far from helpless. When the confrontation finally happens, Tan proves himself to be overwhelmingly powerful. Rather than being defeated, he easily overpowers Adam and his entire group, leaving them injured and shocked. His strength is so immense that it seems almost unreal, as if he possesses abilities far beyond those of a normal student. After the fight, instead of continuing the conflict, Tan casually throws money at his defeated opponents and tells them to use it for medical treatment, even offering to cover additional expenses if needed. This strange mix of dominance and indifference leaves everyone confused. It becomes clear that this academy is no ordinary place. It is a school for individuals with supernatural abilities. Students are categorized based on various factors, including their zodiac signs, which determine the nature and strength of their powers. Among all these categories, those born under the Leo sign are considered the most powerful. Tan belongs to this group, and his abilities are so extraordinary that even the staff and students fear him. His reputation as the strongest student in the academy spreads throughout the campus, earning him both respect and resentment. Adam, in particular, cannot stand this and develops a deep grudge against him. The story then shifts into the past, revealing the complicated and tragic circumstances surrounding Tan's birth. His father, gravely ill and nearing death, is confronted by his wife. She demands to know the location of his lover, who is pregnant with his child. She explains that the child will be born under the powerful Leo sign and offers to adopt the baby in exchange for raising it as her own, since she cannot have children herself. Initially, the father refuses, but realizing that his lineage will disappear if the child remains hidden, he eventually gives in and reveals the truth. However, the wife's intentions are far from noble. After locating the pregnant woman, she eliminates her and takes the child for herself. Tan grows up believing that this woman is his real mother, unaware that she is actually responsible for his biological mother's death. She raises him not out of love but to secure her own power and position, knowing that his status as the rightful heir will protect her from challenges. Returning to the present, the academy faces criticism from the public. Rumors begin circulating that the school only accepts wealthy students and ignores those from less privileged backgrounds. In response, director Sang decides to take action. He plans to personally sponsor a student from a poor background to prove that the academy values talent over wealth. Accompanied by his assistant, he sets out to find a suitable candidate. During their search, they stop at a well-known restaurant. There they encounter a hardworking and intelligent girl who works alongside her uncle. She demonstrates remarkable skills, not only in her work but also in her attitude and determination. When asked about her education, she admits that she cannot afford to attend school and is working to support herself. Impressed by her potential, the assistant offers her a chance to study at Star Academy, promising to cover all expenses. At first, she refuses, doubting the offer. But everything changes when she notices a badge carried by the assistant, one identical to something she has seen before. This badge reminds her of a mysterious person who once saved her life, someone she has been searching for ever since. Determined to find this person, she accepts the offer and decides to enroll in the academy. Her uncle is thrilled by the opportunity and encourages her to go, recognizing it as a rare chance to change her life. The next day, she arrives at the academy and is immediately overwhelmed by its luxurious environment. Everything about the place reflects wealth and exclusivity, from the elegant buildings to the high-end facilities. Students have private rooms, and even basic amenities are handled with extreme care and sophistication. While trying to adjust, she accidentally enters a room without a nameplate, assuming it is unused. However, while changing clothes inside, she suddenly encounters Tan. Startled and embarrassed, she misunderstands the situation and accuses him of inappropriate behavior. Panicking, she rushes out, threatening to expose him. Tan tries to explain, but she refuses to listen. The misunderstanding is eventually cleared up when Han intervenes and explains that the room actually belongs to Tan. Feeling embarrassed, she attempts to brush off the incident and move on. Shortly afterwards, she boards the academy bus and realizes how different she is from the other students. Most of them come from wealthy backgrounds, making her feel out of place. However, she soon meets another student named Mark who, like her, is attending the academy through sponsorship. This gives her a sense of comfort, as she no longer feels completely alone. As she begins attending classes, she learns more about the academy's true nature. The principal explains that zodiac signs are not just symbolic here, they determine each student's supernatural abilities. She is introduced to various classmates, each possessing unique powers such as shape-shifting, fire manipulation, and telekinesis. The revelation overwhelms her and she faints from shock, struggling to accept this new reality. When she regains consciousness, she meets a friendly girl named Sherry who offers to help her adjust. Sherry introduces her to other students, including her boyfriend Cho, and reassures her that even if she hasn't discovered her own abilities yet, she eventually will. As the tour continues, she witnesses more examples of extraordinary powers, leaving her both amazed and intimidated. During this time, she also learns more about the hierarchy within the academy. Students born under the Leo sign are considered the strongest and most dangerous. This realization makes her cautious, especially knowing that Tan, the same person she had a misunderstanding with, belongs to that very group. Despite her fears and insecurities, she begins to adapt to her new environment. Surrounded by powerful individuals and complex relationships, she realizes that her journey at the academy will not be easy. However, driven by her determination to find the person who once saved her life and to prove her own worth, she decides to face whatever challenges lie ahead. Thus, her story at Star Academy truly begins, a journey filled with mystery, danger, hidden truths, and the discovery of both her own strength and the secrets of those around her. Afterward, Sherry informs the girl that Adam is organizing a party at school, and the two of them decide to go together. The event is lively, filled with students enjoying themselves, laughing, and socializing. Everything seems to be going smoothly until all of a sudden the main male figure arrives. As usual, his presence immediately draws everyone's attention, effortlessly overshadowing Adam. This naturally sparks tension between the two, leading to yet another confrontation, something that has become almost routine whenever they are in the same place. During this moment, the girl begins to notice something unusual about Adam. She realizes that he possesses a mysterious ability, something beyond normal human capabilities. This discovery reminds her of a boy from her childhood, someone who once saved her and left a lasting impression on her heart. She has been searching for that person ever since. As she watches Adam, she becomes convinced that he is the same individual. In her mind, everything suddenly connects, and she believes she has finally found the one who once rescued her and whom she has subconsciously cherished ever since. Driven by this belief, she rushes forward, determined to protect him. However, her actions are misunderstood. Instead of helping, she accuses the other boy of inappropriate behavior, hoping to turn everyone against him. Unfortunately for her, this plan does not succeed. Rather than gaining support, she becomes the target of the other girls present. They begin to attack her verbally and physically, warning her to stay away from the boy they admire. The situation quickly escalates, and she finds herself overwhelmed. At that moment, Mark intervenes. Acting quickly, he pulls her away from the chaos and escorts her out of the scene, bringing her to a classroom where things are calmer. Once inside, the teacher asks her to introduce herself to the class. Despite her efforts to speak, the students completely ignore her. No one shows any interest in what she has to say, and the atmosphere becomes cold and unwelcoming. Because of her earlier actions, she is instantly isolated, feeling like an outsider from her very first day. Eventually, she takes a seat next to Sherry. Sherry quietly warns her to stay away from the popular boy, explaining that he has a strong reputation at school. She adds that his girlfriend is known for bullying any girl who gets too close to him. The protagonist responds by saying she has no interest in him at all. Instead, her focus is entirely on Adam. Sherry insists that Adam is not someone worth pursuing, describing him as careless and uninterested in love or commitment. However, the girl stubbornly refuses to listen, stating that she intends to get closer to him and believes she can change him. Realizing that her advice is being ignored, Sherry eventually gives up and tells her to do whatever she wants. Later, when the girl goes to the bathroom, she encounters the popular boy's girlfriend, a powerful and admired student named Baby. Baby approaches her in a surprisingly calm manner, offering her medicine to ease the pain in her eye. She introduces herself and gives a warning. If the girl wants to avoid trouble, she should stay away from her boyfriend. In response, the protagonist clarifies that she is not interested in him and even expresses pity for Baby, questioning how she could be with someone like that. This unexpected response surprises Baby, who recalls seeing her defend Adam earlier. The girl explains that her interest in Adam is purely personal and unrelated to romance. Hearing this, Baby relaxes and even becomes supportive, sharing information about Adam's whereabouts. Later on, the girl approaches Adam and shows him a badge she has been carrying since childhood. She asks if it belongs to him, explaining that the boy who once saved her had the same badge. Adam denies everything, insisting that he has never saved anyone and that she must be mistaken. He appears irritated and asks her to leave him alone, mentioning that he is already dealing with a headache from earlier events. Despite his denial, she remains convinced and tells him she will wait for him after school to settle the matter. Adam misinterprets her persistence as a challenge. Believing she wants to fight, he gathers his friends and heads to meet her behind the school. When they arrive, she is confused by their aggressive attitude and explains that she has no intention of fighting. She simply wants to confirm whether the badge belongs to him. Adam continues to deny any connection, firmly stating that he has never protected anyone and that he always stays with his group. Hearing this, the girl becomes emotional. She starts to cry, thinking that he is dismissing her because she is weak and lacks any special abilities. Seeing her distress, Adam softens slightly. He tries to comfort her by offering her candy and advising her to stay away from him, describing himself as reckless and not someone she should associate with. His unexpected kindness makes her feel a bit better, and she thanks him before leaving. As she walks home, a passing car splashes water on her, leaving her soaked and angry. She confronts the driver only to discover that it is the same boy who constantly causes trouble. She threats him out of frustration, but he remains unfazed. Noticing her condition, he admits that he cannot clean himself up because he has no spare clothes. She ends up helping him by taking him to school, where he lends her his clothes while hers are being washed. The following day, when he sees her wearing his outfit, he begins teasing her, joking that it makes it seem like she belongs to him. Embarrassed, she tries to avoid him and brushes off his comments. He then shifts the conversation to a more serious topic, revealing that he has an upcoming match against Adam and is fully prepared for it. He gathers his friends and they head to the location where the match will take place. When they meet Adam, tensions rise immediately. Both sides exchange sharp insults, each trying to intimidate the other. Just as the situation is about to escalate into a full conflict, the girl appears again, attempting to ask Adam about the badge once more. Annoyed, he tells his friends to handle her while he focuses on the match. The competition begins, and initially Adam's team seems to have the upper hand. However, the situation quickly changes and the protagonist manages to turn things around, ultimately securing victory. After the match, he goes to retrieve a prize, a cup of chocolate, to give to the girl, only to discover that she has already eaten it. This frustrates Sherry, who begins to argue with her. The protagonist intervenes, saying it is not worth getting upset over something so trivial. Soon after, Mark steps in again to protect her, suggesting they hide to avoid further trouble. Later, in the principal's office, another encounter with Adam takes place. He notices the badge and questions her about it. She explains its significance and her hope of returning it to the person who saved her. Although Adam denies being that person, she notices inconsistencies in his behavior, especially when she sees a handkerchief that matches her memory. Meanwhile, Baby becomes increasingly suspicious and jealous. Believing that the girl is trying to take Adam away from her, she begins plotting against her. Her friend keeps watch and reports back, confirming her fears. Determined to act, Baby decides to confront the girl. At the same time, the protagonist seeks answers from another boy named Han, who falsely claims to be her childhood savior. However, his behavior quickly reveals his true intentions and she realizes he is lying. Feeling disappointed and uneasy, she walks away only to encounter Baby and her group. Instead of directly attacking her, they vandalize a nearby car, mistakenly believing it belongs to her and issue a threatening warning. Mark once again comes to her aid, helping her leave safely. Later, she learns that the damaged car did not belong to her but to someone else, which adds another layer of misunderstanding to the situation. Mark reassures her and comforts her, reminding her that she is not alone. He invites her to spend time with him and they share a peaceful moment together. As events continue, she becomes unintentionally involved in a major school competition after signing a form she did not fully understand. When she learns the truth, she panics, realizing that the event requires supernatural abilities, something she does not possess. Mark explains the seriousness of the situation and warns her that withdrawing could lead to serious consequences. Although she feels overwhelmed and frightened, Mark promises to support her. He takes her to the library where they begin preparing together, determined to find a way for her to survive the challenges ahead despite her lack of powers. At that moment, he notices them together. The sight immediately irritates him. As the closeness between them sparks a wave of frustration he struggles to hide. Meanwhile, the girl approaches him with a calmer intention. She has washed the clothes he previously lent her and now returns them neatly, expressing her gratitude for his help. While handing them back, she admits that she is still trying to understand the strange abilities she recently discovered within herself. Curious and somewhat desperate, she asks if he could guide her or at least reveal more about his own powers, since very few people seem to know about them. Her request, however, does not receive the response she expected. Instead of helping, he reacts harshly. He becomes defensive and irritated, telling her bluntly that he owes her nothing. If she doubts his abilities, that is her own problem, not his responsibility to prove anything. Without offering further explanation, he walks away, leaving her standing there, confused and slightly hurt by his cold attitude. When he returns home, he is immediately confronted by his mother. She questions him about his preparation for the upcoming competition, expecting progress and discipline. His casual response that he has done nothing infuriates her. Without hesitation, she strikes him and scolds him harshly, criticizing his lack of seriousness. She reminds him that time is running out and that merely getting by is not acceptable. According to her, failure is not an option. She insists that he must dedicate himself fully to training, emphasizing that he carries a significant responsibility as the leader of a powerful group. Her words are heavy with expectation, making it clear that she will not tolerate weakness or laziness. At the same time, the girl begins to feel overwhelmed with guilt. She realizes that her careless decisions have not only put her in a difficult situation but have also dragged Mark into it. Wanting to fix her mistake, she considers confessing everything to a teacher and withdrawing from the competition altogether. However, fear holds her back. She worries that if she exposes the truth, she will face retaliation, especially from Sherry and others who might target her even more. Instead of confessing, she decides to investigate the competition secretly. She suspects that there may be hidden rules or consequences that could affect her future at the school. Acting on this suspicion, she attempts to access restricted materials related to the event. During this risky attempt, she unexpectedly encounters two individuals attempting to steal the same documents. Her presence inadvertently alerts the authorities, and the manager catches the thieves. Misunderstanding the situation, the manager assumes that she was trying to expose the culprits. Rather than punishing her, he praises her actions and expresses gratitude. He even goes as far as to guarantee her participation in the competition, promising that no matter what obstacles arise, she will remain a contestant. This unexpected turn of events leaves her feeling trapped. What she hoped would be a way out has instead locked her in even further. Feeling hopeless, she returns to the restaurant where she works, clearly upset. Mark notices her distress and asks what is bothering her. She finally opens up, explaining that she has been forced into a competition that she is completely unprepared for. She admits that she has no supernatural abilities and fears that she has also put him in danger by involving him. Mark listens carefully and reassures her. He tells her that she does not need to rely solely on powers to succeed and reminds her that he chose to be part of this situation. He emphasizes their friendship, asking if she does not see him as someone who would stand by her. Touched by his sincerity, she responds that he is more than just a friend, he is the best friend she has ever had. His support brings her comfort and a sense of hope. The following day, while walking alone, she unexpectedly encounters the boy again. This time he approaches her with a serious expression and advises her to withdraw from the competition. He warns her that without abilities she could get seriously hurt. However, she refuses to back down. She tells him that she has a plan and believes she can find a way to win. She also mentions that Mark will help her. Hearing this only frustrates him further. He reacts angrily, warning her that if she participates, he will not hold back and may end up hurting her during the event. His words ignite her determination. She responds boldly, challenging his attitude and telling him that he underestimates her. She declares that she will prove herself and even surpass him. Frustrated by his arrogance, she throws the food she is holding in anger before storming off. Later, she finds Mark and insists that she needs to train. She is more determined than ever to become stronger and face the challenges ahead. Though confused by her sudden intensity, Mark agrees to help her without hesitation. Eventually, the day of the competition arrives. Participants are gathered and transported to a mysterious location. Upon arrival, she finds herself in what appears to be an abandoned area, far removed from the normal world. They pass through a magical gateway, entering a strange environment where the rules of the competition are explained. Each participant must collect pins associated with specific zodiac signs, and the one who gathers the most will advance. As the event begins, alliances form and strategies unfold. Some participants immediately target weaker opponents, believing them to be easy victories. The girl quickly realizes that she is seen as one of those weak targets. Despite this, she remains cautious, choosing to avoid direct confrontation and focus on survival. Meanwhile, the boy demonstrates his overwhelming strength. Transforming into a more powerful state, he defeats multiple opponents with ease, taking their pins and asserting dominance. His actions are both impressive and intimidating, making it clear that he is one of the strongest contenders. During the chaos, he senses someone watching him and discovers Mark nearby. Suspicious, he prepares to confront him, but Mark defends himself, insisting he has done nothing wrong. The girl intervenes, protecting Mark and helping him escape. Though annoyed, the boy does not pursue them further. As the competition continues, the girl carefully navigates the environment, trying to collect pins without drawing attention. She knows that direct combat would likely result in her defeat, so she relies on strategy and caution. However, her efforts are interrupted when she finds Mark badly injured. Seeing him in such a state fills her with guilt and concern. She quickly takes him to a safe place to treat his wounds. But something feels off. Her instincts tell her that the situation is not what it seems. Her suspicion proves correct when she realizes that the injured Mark is actually Baby in disguise. Using her abilities, Baby had attempted to trick her and steal her pin. Fortunately, the girl sees through the deception and manages to capture her briefly, taking her pin before Baby escapes. Feeling a sense of accomplishment, she continues moving forward. However, her success is short-lived. A group of participants suddenly captures her, intending to use her as bait to lure the boy. Their plan is to ambush him and steal his pin once he comes to rescue her. As expected, he rushes to her aid the moment he learns she is in danger. When he arrives, he confronts the group without hesitation. The attackers attempt to overpower him, but they underestimate his strength. He defeats them decisively, forcing them to surrender their pins and admit defeat. With the competition coming to an end, the results are announced. He successfully qualifies for the next round, proving his superiority once again. The girl approaches him afterward to congratulate him and express her gratitude. However, he remains distant, showing little interest in her words. He leaves without much acknowledgement and returns home. To his surprise, she is already waiting for him there. She approaches him with sincerity, thanking him for saving her and apologizing for her earlier behavior. Despite this, he dismisses her feelings, claiming that he only helped her out of pity and nothing more. Their conversation is suddenly interrupted when a group of masked individuals emerges and attacks them. The boy tries to defend both himself and her, but her presence makes it harder for him to fight effectively. During the struggle, the attackers use a mysterious technique that immobilizes his fingers, significantly weakening him. Concerned, the girl asks who these attackers are and why they are targeting him. He admits that he does not know, but warns her not to speak about what happened, especially at school where his image is important. Later, when he returns home, his mother notices something unusual. She questions him about his condition, sensing that something is wrong. Though he tries to hide it, she forces him to reveal his injured hand. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, she demands to know who is responsible. He lies, claiming it was an accident, and quickly leaves before he can reveal the truth. Despite his efforts, he is unable to break the curse affecting him. Meanwhile, his mother investigates the situation and learns that a dangerous group may be responsible. Determined to protect her son, she decides to take action personally. She instructs him to stay inside and forbids him from leaving the house under any circumstances. Although he insists that he can handle things on his own, she refuses to take any risks. Her warning is clear: if he disobeys, the consequences will be severe. The following day, the girl arrives at school and immediately notices something unusual. He is not there. His absence feels strange, especially after everything that has happened between them. Curious and slightly worried, she begins asking around. Eventually, she learns that he has been confined to his house as a form of punishment and is not allowed to leave for the time being. Hearing this, she becomes determined to see him. She turns to someone she trusts and asks for help in visiting him. The person agrees but suggests a risky plan. In order to gain access to the house without raising suspicion, she would need to pretend to be his girlfriend. Although hesitant at first, she ultimately accepts the idea, deciding to leave things to fate. Before heading to his house, he takes her to buy new clothes. The goal is to transform her appearance into someone who looks wealthy and refined, someone who would convincingly fit into his social circle. Once she is dressed appropriately, they make their way to his home and carry out the plan, introducing her as his girlfriend. When they arrive, his mother is visibly surprised to see her. Despite her suspicion, she allows them to enter. Inside, when he sees the girl, he is completely taken aback. Her appearance leaves him momentarily speechless, as if he is seeing her in a completely different light for the first time. He comments on her beauty, almost in disbelief. She responds confidently, saying that she has always been this way. It is simply that he never bothered to notice before. Their conversation takes on a slightly more personal tone, with her teasing him about his cold and distant behavior. He attempts to respond, even trying to get closer to her in a more friendly manner. However, at that exact moment, his mother walks in and misinterprets the scene entirely. She immediately becomes suspicious of the girl and quietly orders her guard to keep a close watch on her movements. The guard later shares concerning information with her. He mentions rumors suggesting that the girl may have been present during the recent attack and could even be connected to it. According to what he has heard, the attackers might not have been targeting the boy at all, but rather her. This revelation infuriates his mother. Her anger grows and she begins to see the girl as a serious threat. Determined to separate them, she brings up another matter, his upcoming arranged marriage. She informs him that preparations are already underway and that the date is approaching quickly. He is shocked and immediately objects, stating that he is not ready and has no feelings for the girl he is supposed to marry. However, his mother dismisses his objections completely. She makes it clear that this is not his decision to make, and that his personal feelings are irrelevant compared to the family's expectations. Despite her pressure, he does not seem willing to accept the situation. However, instead of continuing the argument, he chooses to leave and join his friends who are gathering for a barbecue. Meanwhile, the girl takes the opportunity to check on him again. When she finds him, he is clearly not in the mood to talk. He tells her bluntly to stay away and not bother him. However, she refuses to back down and insists on staying close to him. During their conversation, she mentions that she has heard about the planned marriage and expresses her excitement in a way that seems almost sarcastic. Her words carry a mix of emotions, making it difficult to tell whether she is serious or simply trying to provoke a reaction. Unbeknownst to them, the girl overhears everything. Hearing about his supposed decision to marry someone else deeply affects her. She feels a sharp sense of betrayal and heartbreak, as if everything she believed about him has suddenly been shattered. Unable to handle the emotional weight, she runs away to cry in private. Mark follows her, concerned for her well-being. He tries to comfort her, offering support and reassurance. At that moment, the boy arrives and sees them together. Misinterpreting the situation, he assumes that she has moved on and is no longer interested in him. This misunderstanding only adds to the growing tension between them. Mark encourages her to be honest about her feelings, suggesting that she should tell him the truth. However, she refuses. She believes there is no point anymore, especially if he is going to be married soon. From that moment on, she begins to distance herself from him completely, ignoring him even when they are in the same place. As time passes, he attempts to approach her and clear up the misunderstandings, but she refuses to listen. She shuts him out entirely, unwilling to give him another chance to explain. Then one night, chaos erupts at the school. A massive fire breaks out, drawing everyone's attention. While the staff struggles to control the situation, a separate operation is taking place in secret. Someone breaks into the principal's office and steals important documents, files that contain detailed information about the girl and her family background. The principal later discovers the theft and is puzzled. He cannot understand why anyone would target her specifically, given that she appears to be an ordinary student with no special abilities. Because of this, he initially underestimates the seriousness of the situation. The next day, he gathers all the students and announces the second phase of the competition. This time, participants are required to work in teams rather than individually. Surprisingly, he offers to partner with the girl and she accepts. Meanwhile, a dangerous group known as the Snake Gang learns that she will be present at the next event, which will take place in a mountainous area. They decide to target her specifically, hinting that there is something important about her that others do not yet know. When she arrives at the location, they begin their plan. One of their members approaches Mark and deceives him, claiming that the principal wants to see him immediately. Trusting the information, Mark leaves, unknowingly leaving her alone. Seizing the opportunity, the group approaches her. They confiscate her belongings and begin searching her, convinced that she might be hiding something valuable. They then trick her into participating in what they claim is a necessary ritual, wrapping her in cloth and humiliating her in the process. Believing them, she goes along with it, unaware that it is all part of their plan. Just as the situation reaches its worst point, he arrives. Realizing it is a trap, he immediately intervenes and begins fighting them. However, even he struggles against their numbers. Recognizing that he cannot win in a direct confrontation, he prioritizes her safety and escapes with her. At the same time, the principal begins investigating the stolen files. He contacts her uncle, the only family member he can reach. When the uncle hears what happened, he becomes furious, accusing the school of negligence. The principal apologizes and promises to ensure her safety from now on. During their conversation, the uncle reveals details about her past. Her mother died shortly after giving birth due to complications, and her father disappeared out of guilt, leaving her to be raised by her uncle alone. When the principal hears her father's name, he is visibly shocked, indicating that he recognizes it. Later, it is revealed that her father is still alive. On the anniversary of her mother's death, he visits her grave. By coincidence, the principal encounters him there and attempts to speak with him. Although the father is not fully aware due to his condition, the principal informs him that his daughter is in danger. It becomes clear that she was born with a secret, something significant enough to attract powerful enemies. However, the exact nature of this secret remains unknown. Meanwhile, she and the boy believe they have found a safe place to hide, but their relief is short-lived. The Snake Gang finds them again and launches another attack. This time, the situation becomes even more dangerous as they attempt to throw her off a mountain. At the last possible moment, he manages to grab her hand and save her. This moment triggers a memory within her, the memory of a boy who once saved her in the past. She finally realizes the truth: he is the one she has been searching for all along. Despite this realization, she urges him to let her go and save himself. She is willing to sacrifice herself to protect him. However, he refuses. Forced into a desperate situation, he finally reveals his hidden ability. He creates multiple copies of himself, using this power to rescue her. This revelation exposes a secret he had been hiding from everyone. Despite the danger, she does not care about the risk. Instead, she thanks him, recognizing that he has now saved her twice. He asks her to keep his ability a secret, explaining that it is rare and that his mother would be furious if she found out. She promises to protect his secret. As they wait for rescue, they take the opportunity to talk and resolve their misunderstandings. He even hints at his feelings for her. However, before the moment can develop further, the principal arrives with assistance and takes him away. When his mother learns what happened, she becomes furious. She scolds him for being involved with the girl again and warns him that she is dangerous. She demands to know whether he revealed his true power. He denies it, but she remains suspicious. As punishment, she tightens her control over him, forbidding him from leaving the house and placing him under constant surveillance. When he protests, she reminds him of his responsibility as the heir to a powerful family, making it clear that he has no freedom to act on his own. Her final order is strict. He is to be watched at all times to ensure that he does not escape again or act against her wishes. At the same time, the girl decides to check on Mark and asks him how he performed during the competition. However, instead of responding warmly as he usually would, he avoids her completely. He barely acknowledges her presence and refuses to engage in conversation. It is obvious that something is bothering him deeply. His cold attitude is not without reason. He has noticed how she has been spending more and more time around the other boy, while gradually distancing herself from him. Mark has been trying to express his feelings for her for quite some time, dropping subtle hints and hoping she would understand. Yet every time he attempts to open up, she acts as if she has no idea what he is talking about. Whether she truly does not notice or simply chooses to ignore it remains unclear. When he once again tries to bring up his emotions, she brushes him off, saying she is too busy with her studies. Without giving him a chance to continue, she walks away, leaving him standing there in frustration. As days pass, Mark becomes increasingly convinced that there is no future for him with her. From his perspective, it is obvious that her attention is fixed entirely on the other boy. This realization slowly eats away at him, creating a mixture of sadness, jealousy, and resentment. A week goes by under these strained circumstances. During this time, the girl finds herself longing to see the boy again. However, she soon learns that he is still being kept under strict supervision at home by his mother. She has essentially confined him, allowing him very little freedom. When the examination period approaches, he sees it as an opportunity to finally leave the house, even if only temporarily. Unfortunately, his mother does not trust him and sends several guards with him to school to ensure he does not try anything reckless. Even after the exams are over, the situation does not improve. Whenever the girl attempts to approach him and speak with him, the guards step in and block her path. Despite these obstacles, she remains determined. She reminds him of a promise he once made, that he would celebrate her birthday with her. She tells him that she will be waiting, hoping that he will find a way to keep his word. He does not give her a clear response, leaving her uncertain but still hopeful. Refusing to give up, she comes up with another plan. She seeks out Han and asks for his help, suggesting that they once again pretend to be a couple in order to gain access to the boy's house. Han agrees to assist her, and together they attempt to carry out the plan. However, this time things do not go as expected. The guards recognize her immediately and refuse to let her enter, explaining that the boy's mother has given strict orders that no one is allowed to visit him. This realization hits her hard. It becomes clear that his mother is deliberately trying to keep them apart. The thought frustrates and saddens her, making her feel powerless. Han tries to comfort her, offering to check on the boy himself. Later, he and Adam manage to visit him without any issues. When the boy sees his friends, he is visibly relieved and happy. He quickly asks them for help, explaining that he wants to escape so he can meet the girl and celebrate her birthday as promised. Feeling sympathetic, they agree to help him. Together, they manage to create a distraction and successfully get him out of the house. He wastes no time and goes straight to meet her. The two of them spend the entire day together, enjoying each other's company and making the most of their time. They laugh, explore, and create memories that bring them closer than ever before. During this time, he finally gathers the courage to confess his feelings. He tells her openly that he loves her and asks if she would be willing to be with him officially. Overwhelmed with happiness, she immediately accepts. For a moment, everything feels perfect, as if all the struggles they have faced were worth it. He insists on walking her home, wanting to prolong their time together. However, their happiness is short-lived. His mother discovers that he has escaped and quickly tracks him down, arriving to take him back home. At the same time, Mark happens to see them together. The sight deeply affects him, confirming his worst fears. Unable to cope with the pain, he turns to alcohol in an attempt to forget. When the girl sees him in that state, she becomes concerned and asks why he is hurting himself like that. However, he gives her no clear answer and simply walks away, leaving her confused. Later, her uncle approaches her and advises her to consider being with Mark, describing him as a good and reliable person. She responds dismissively, avoiding the conversation and refusing to take the suggestion seriously. Meanwhile, the boy is facing the consequences of his actions. His mother scolds him harshly for leaving the house without permission and, more importantly, for spending time with the girl she explicitly warned him about. She goes as far as threatening to ruin the girl's life if he continues to see her. She claims she could have her expelled from school, shut down her family's business, and completely remove her from his life. Hearing this, he becomes deeply worried. He knows his mother is capable of carrying out these threats, and the thought of the girl being harmed because of him weighs heavily on his mind. The next day at school, a new competition is announced, a boxing match. The girl is assigned to face a powerful opponent. She initially feels confident, recalling her past experience with boxing. However, the moment the match begins, her opponent overwhelms her with a single strike, knocking her unconscious almost instantly. The defeat is humiliating and leaves her feeling weak and inadequate. She tries to walk away quietly, but he follows her, refusing to let her remain upset. He attempts to cheer her up in his own way, while their classmates also offer words of encouragement, reminding her that she was brave to step into the ring against such a strong opponent. For a brief moment, things feel lighter again. They even take a group photo, capturing a rare moment of happiness. However, this moment is observed by someone who does not share their joy. Seeing them together fills her with jealousy and anger as she feels that the girl has taken everything from her. Soon after, the final stage of the competition is announced. The remaining participants are revealed, and it becomes clear that the final battles will determine the strongest student in the school. Mark, fueled by his emotions, becomes more determined than ever to win. As the matches begin, Mark displays incredible strength, defeating his opponent decisively. When it is the boy's turn, his opponent tries to manipulate him emotionally, offering to withdraw if he confesses his feelings for her. However, he refuses, stating that he will not lie about his emotions. Instead, he admits that he loves someone else. This rejection breaks her heart, and she chooses to withdraw from the competition on her own, leaving with dignity despite her pain. Later, tension rises further when Mark confronts the boy directly. He accuses him of hiding his true identity and challenges him to reveal the truth. When the boy refuses, Mark attacks him, using his full strength to overpower him. The final match between them becomes the most intense moment of the competition. Mark unleashes his true abilities, shocking everyone with his power. He demands that the boy admit the truth, but the boy stubbornly refuses, insisting on maintaining his image. As the situation escalates, the girl rushes in, desperately trying to stop the fight. She begs both of them to end it before it goes too far. In the end, Mark chooses to stop, allowing the boy to technically win the title once again. However, the truth becomes clear to everyone: the boy is not as strong as he appears. While Mark's true strength is undeniable. After the match, the boy is taken to the hospital due to his injuries. His friends visit him while the girl asks about Mark, only to learn that he disappeared after the fight. Soon after, his mother arrives and requests to speak with the girl privately. She politely but firmly asks her to stay away from her son, claiming that her presence only brings trouble. The girl admits her feelings but refuses to simply walk away. The conversation quickly turns tense. His mother points out the difference in their social status, emphasizing that her son belongs to a wealthy and powerful family while the girl comes from a much more modest background. She insists that he will marry someone from their own social class, regardless of love. These words deeply wound the girl. Feeling insulted and powerless, she leaves, carrying the weight of everything that has been said. At that point, the school principal approaches the girl with a serious expression. It is clear that something has been on his mind, and he wastes no time getting to the point. He explains that he wants to ask her about the boy, specifically about his strange behavior during the recent championship. According to the principal, his performance was far below expectations. Instead of displaying his usual strength and confidence, he appeared weak, exhausted, and almost as if he were holding himself back. The principal finds this highly suspicious and wants to understand the reason behind it. The girl listens carefully before responding. She admits that she does not know the exact reason, but she firmly believes that there must have been a valid explanation for his actions. She trusts that he would not behave that way without purpose. Despite her answer, the principal is not satisfied. He senses that there is more to the situation than meets the eye. As rumors begin to spread, it becomes increasingly clear that the truth is more complicated than anyone initially thought. It is eventually revealed that the boy does, in fact, possess supernatural abilities. However, unlike others, he deliberately chooses not to display them openly. He prefers to keep his powers hidden, avoiding attention and scrutiny. The girl advises him to continue keeping a low profile, suggesting that secrecy may be the safest option for him. Her response surprises the principal, who had expected her to encourage him to embrace his abilities instead. This only deepens his suspicion, prompting him to investigate further. Determined to uncover the truth, the principal takes matters into his own hands. After leaving the boy's hospital room, he discreetly instructs the nurse to collect a blood sample for analysis. He believes that scientific evidence may reveal what words cannot. Meanwhile, Mark reaches a breaking point. Overwhelmed by everything that has happened, he decides to leave school altogether. He no longer sees a future for himself there and considers taking on any job just to move forward with his life. However, his plans take an unexpected turn when the leader of the Snake Gang finds him. The leader approaches Mark with a proposal, asking him to join forces with them. Their goal is clear: they want to eliminate the boy. At first, Mark refuses outright. Despite his frustration and anger, he is not willing to go that far. But the gang leader is prepared. He presents an offer that is difficult to ignore. He promises Mark power, status, and wealth, claiming that if he cooperates, he will become the sole heir to one of the richest families. He also implies that Mark would gain the freedom to marry whoever he desires, free from any restrictions. The offer is tempting, and the leader gives him a limited time to decide, emphasizing that the upcoming ceremony will determine everything. Left alone with his thoughts, Mark struggles with the decision. His emotions are conflicted, torn between his lingering feelings and the opportunity being presented to him. Eventually, he reaches out to the girl and asks to meet. When they meet, he tells her that he has two important questions. The first question is about her actions, why she ran away and why she continues to support the boy despite everything. The moment she hears this, she becomes emotional. Without hesitation, she admits that she loves him. She declares that she will always stand by his side and protect him no matter what. Hearing this confirms Mark's fears. He realizes that her heart belongs to someone else. When she asks about his second question, he decides not to ask it. He understands that the answer would not change anything. The next day, a grand ceremony is held to announce the new heir of the powerful family. The atmosphere is filled with luxury and influence, with many important figures in attendance. The girl feels proud as she watches him, believing that he is finally stepping into his rightful place. People begin approaching her, assuming that she will become closely connected to him in the future. As preparations for the celebration continue, Baby approaches him once again, attempting to get closer. However, he firmly rejects her advances, making it clear that he has no interest in her. She responds calmly, reminding him that their marriage has already been arranged and will take place soon, regardless of his feelings. Their conversation is interrupted when the principal appears and insists on speaking privately. He refuses to wait, stating that the matter is urgent. He directly confronts the boy's mother, questioning whether her son has a problem with his abilities. She denies everything, but the principal reveals that he has already conducted tests and knows the truth. He accuses her of suppressing her son's abilities through medication and demands an explanation. Despite his accusations, she pretends not to understand. The principal warns her that if she does not cancel the ceremony, he will expose everything to the public. He threatens to reveal that the boy's abilities are not what they appear to be. This angers her greatly. She refuses to back down, declaring that she will not allow anyone to ruin what she has worked toward for years. The tension between them escalates, marking the beginning of an open conflict. Meanwhile, the boy searches for the girl during the celebration but cannot find her. Growing anxious, he calls her phone. To his shock, Mark answers. Calmly, Mark reveals that he has kidnapped her. At first it sounds like a joke, but the situation quickly becomes serious when he initiates a video call. On the screen, the boy sees her tied up with a bomb placed dangerously close to her. Realizing the urgency, he rushes to the location Mark mentions. When he arrives, Mark explains that everything is being monitored and broadcast. The entire event is being shown to the guests at the ceremony. It becomes clear that Mark is using this situation to expose the boy in front of everyone. As the scene unfolds, the boy is attacked and beaten in front of the audience. Unable to defend himself properly, he appears weak and vulnerable. The guests watching the broadcast are shocked. The image of him as the strongest individual begins to crumble. His mother quickly intervenes, attempting to control the situation by claiming that the footage is staged entertainment. However, the truth is becoming impossible to hide. Then Mark appears in person, confidently displaying his abilities. His strength is undeniable and the crowd begins to shift their attention toward him. In a dramatic revelation, Mark exposes the truth about their identities. He declares that he is the true heir while the boy is not even a legitimate member of the family. He reveals a long-hidden secret: the boy was never meant to inherit anything. He was raised under false pretenses, while Mark is the real child who was thought to have died at birth. This revelation shocks everyone, including the boy's mother, who realizes that her past actions have finally caught up with her. Amid the chaos, the boy manages to save the girl and escape with her. Once they are safe, he confesses everything he has learned, struggling to process the truth. The realization that Mark is his brother leaves him shaken. Later, Mark is welcomed by the family elders who acknowledge him as the rightful heir. However, they also declare that his mother must face consequences for her deception. Meanwhile, the boy distances himself from everything. He refuses to accept the life that was built on lies. When he learns that he no longer needs the medication he was given, he begins to question everything about his past. With nowhere to go, he wanders aimlessly until he encounters Adam, who offers him help. Though reluctant at first, he eventually finds temporary refuge. Back at the girl's home, another shocking revelation occurs. A man appears and it is revealed that he is her father, the one she believed had abandoned her. She expects answers, perhaps even an apology, but instead he tells her that she must separate from the boy. His words leave her devastated. Unable to cope, she retreats to her room, overwhelmed by everything that has happened. Meanwhile, her uncle explains the truth behind the past events, revealing a complicated history involving betrayal, guilt, and hidden identities. Hearing all of this, the boy confronts the woman who raised him. He questions her about the past and her actions. She admits that everything she did was for survival and control. She asks for forgiveness, claiming that she cannot live without him. However, he can no longer trust her. Refusing to continue living under deception, he walks away. As he leaves, Baby approaches him once again, trying to hold onto what remains of their connection. She claims to love him, but this time he does not respond. Without looking back, he walks away, leaving everything behind as he begins to face an uncertain future. From that point on, the situation becomes even more complicated and emotionally intense for everyone involved. Mark eventually arrives at the company headquarters, determined to take control of everything that now supposedly belongs to him. However, he doesn't get a moment of peace before our hero confronts him directly. The tension between them is immediate and heavy. Our hero doesn't hold back. He accuses Mark of crossing a line that can never be forgiven. He reminds him of the moment when he kidnapped the heroine and put her life in danger, all for the sake of gaining power and status. To him, that act alone proves that Mark was willing to sacrifice something truly important for something meaningless. Mark tries to defend himself, claiming that the bomb he used during the kidnapping was never real and that he never intended to actually harm her. He insists that everything was just part of a plan, a desperate move to secure his position as the heir. But those words fall flat. Our hero doesn't care whether the threat was real or fake. What matters is that Mark was willing to go that far. In his eyes, even pretending to harm her is unforgivable. He makes it clear that he cannot and will not forgive him, then turns away, leaving Mark alone with his thoughts. That moment hits Mark hard. For the first time, he truly reflects on everything he has done. He realizes that the person he hurt the most was not just anyone, it was the girl who had always been closest to him, someone who trusted him. The weight of his actions begins to sink in and guilt starts to consume him. Driven by regret, Mark decides to find her and try to make things right. But when he finally stands in front of her, he struggles to even speak. The moment she sees him, her expression changes completely. She doesn't hesitate to tell him that she wishes they could erase their past entirely. In her eyes, they are no longer the same people. He has become powerful, wealthy, and distant while she feels stuck in the same place, still struggling, still alone, still without a stable family. Mark tries to explain himself. He admits that everything he did was influenced by his belief that she only cared about our hero because of his strength and status. He thought that if he became stronger and more successful, she would finally notice him. Hearing this, she realizes just how far gone his thinking had become. It shocks her, but at the same time, it makes her understand his actions in a different light. Still, Mark doesn't give up completely. He asks her to come with him to the company, saying there is something important he wants to show her. Though hesitant, she agrees. When they arrive, he takes her to a special room designed for observing the night sky. There, he reveals something deeply personal. He has purchased a star and named it after her. It's a symbolic gesture, something meant to show how much she means to him. She is touched by the effort and sincerity behind it. For a moment, it softens her feelings, but she gently tells him the truth: she cannot return his feelings. Her heart already belongs to someone else. Mark accepts this, perhaps more calmly than expected. He tells her that even if she cannot love him, he still hopes they can remain friends. After everything, she agrees. However, the peace doesn't last long. When she returns home, she is met with a shocking sight. Her uncle has been kidnapped. Panic immediately sets in. Before she can even process what's happening or ask questions, a group appears and threatens her. The situation escalates quickly. Our hero rushes to help as soon as he learns about it, but unfortunately, he arrives too late to prevent the worst from happening. The Snake Gang captures her and takes her away to their hidden base. Once there, the atmosphere is unsettling. The gang members act strangely, almost mockingly, as if this is all part of some twisted ritual. Confused and angry, she demands answers: who they are, why they brought her there, and what they want from her. Then the leader appears and shows her an image of someone who looks exactly like her. He begins to explain a story that sounds almost unbelievable. According to him, long ago there existed a woman of immense power, someone who possessed a rare and dangerous ability known as snake magic. She was said to be one of the strongest beings in existence. After her death, her power didn't simply disappear, it was passed down through generations. And now, that legacy has reached her. He claims that she is the final descendant, the one who carries that power within her. Naturally, she doesn't believe a word of it. To her, it sounds like nonsense, like something out of a bad story. She dismisses them, insisting she has no powers at all, and tries to leave. But they don't let her go. They are convinced she is the key to unlocking something far greater. They force her to stay, determined to uncover the truth about her abilities. While she is trapped, our hero desperately searches for a way to find her. He turns to his mother for help, asking her to locate the Snake Gang. At first, she refuses, but eventually she gives in. She tells him about a special system connected to the company, a platform that can be used to track and access hidden locations. He goes to Mark, demanding access to this system. Mark agrees, but only on one condition: that he will serve under our hero moving forward. Surprisingly, our hero accepts. Saving her is more important than anything else. Once Mark realizes the seriousness of the situation, he becomes genuinely angry, not at our hero but at the gang. He confronts their leader, demanding answers and insisting they release her. But the leader reminds him that he was only ever a pawn in their larger plan. He makes it clear that he has no intention of letting her go, especially since he believes she holds immense power. Meanwhile, the heroine manages to escape on her own. She runs straight to the school principal and tells him everything. This time he takes her seriously. He confirms that the story about her lineage is real. He explains that she is part of a long line of powerful individuals and that legends have long predicted the birth of someone like her, a person with extraordinary abilities. The realization is overwhelming. Everything she thought was impossible suddenly feels real. When she leaves the principal's office, she finds our hero waiting for her. Without hesitation, she runs to him and hugs him tightly. He checks to make sure she's safe, clearly relieved. At that moment, Mark arrives as well, watching them from a distance. By now, he has accepted his place in their dynamic. He understands that he is no longer the center of her world. But the danger is far from over. The Snake Gang begins a new plan. This time, they target the students at the school. They use a special substance to enhance their powers and turn them into controlled fighters. Their goal is to build an army strong enough to defeat both our hero and the heroine. The principal attempts to investigate, but everything takes a shocking turn when his own assistant reveals his true identity. He is the leader of the Snake Gang. The betrayal is devastating. The one person the principal trusted most has been working against him all along. With the situation spiraling out of control, alliances begin to shift. Mark approaches our hero once again, this time asking him to work together. He admits his mistakes and acknowledges that they share a bond as brothers. Though hesitant, our hero senses his sincerity and agrees. Just as they begin to form a plan, the Snake Gang launches a full attack on the school. Chaos erupts. Students are in danger and the heroine becomes a primary target. The hero and Mark rush to help, but they are delayed. In a tragic moment, one of their friends sacrifices himself to save her. This loss changes everything. Filled with anger and grief, our hero unleashes his full determination. He fights back against the gang with everything he has, driven by the need for justice. After the battle, they mourn their fallen friend and vow to continue the fight. From that moment on, they are no longer divided. They unite, forming a plan to take down the Snake Gang once and for all. They split into groups, each with a specific role, preparing for the final confrontation that will decide everything. At the same time, while everything seems to be falling apart, the group slowly begins to find a way forward. Instead of acting separately, they start coordinating their efforts, sharing information and supporting one another. Their main goal becomes clear: rescue their captured friends and stop the Snake Gang once and for all. For the first time, they truly function as a united team rather than a collection of individuals with separate motives. During this fragile moment of unity, Mark approaches the heroine with a heavy heart. He knows he cannot move forward without addressing the damage he caused. With sincerity, he apologizes for everything, for working with the gang in the beginning and for being the reason those dangerous people entered their lives in the first place. His voice carries regret, and it's obvious he has been struggling with guilt for a long time. The heroine listens carefully. Instead of reacting with anger, she reflects on everything she knows about him. She understands that despite his terrible choices, his actions were driven by his feelings for her. That realization makes her feel conflicted, even somewhat responsible. Still, she makes it clear that this forgiveness comes with a condition. She tells him this will be the last time she overlooks such mistakes. Mark accepts this without hesitation and promises that he will never repeat those errors again. With that, the tension between them fades. Their bond begins to heal, transforming into something stronger and more genuine. Mark and the hero also grow closer, no longer as rivals but almost like true brothers. The heroine feels relieved seeing the two of them finally at peace. For a brief moment, it seems like all their problems are being resolved and the group begins to feel like a family. Meanwhile, completely unaware of the storm heading their way, the Snake Gang relaxes in their hideout. They act as though they have already won, passing time carelessly and underestimating their enemies. But their confidence becomes their weakness. Without warning, Mark and the others launch a sudden and well-coordinated attack. The strike catches the gang completely off guard. Chaos erupts as the group fights back fiercely, managing to overpower many of the gang members. Within a short time, they turn the situation around and deal a heavy blow to the enemy forces, nearly wiping out a large portion of them. Seizing this opportunity, our hero focuses on rescuing their captured friends. However, what he finds is heartbreaking. The friends he came to save are no longer themselves. Under the influence of the gang's serum, they have been turned into controlled fighters. Their eyes show no recognition and they attack him without hesitation. This puts him in an impossible situation. He refuses to hurt them, knowing they are not acting of their own will. Instead of fighting back with full force, he tries to avoid causing harm while searching for another solution. Realizing that the only way to save them is to stop the source, he goes straight for the gang leader. When he confronts him, he demands the antidote that can free his friends from the serum's control. But the leader only laughs at him. He mocks the idea of giving up such power so easily and reveals his true ambition to dominate everything and everyone, to reshape the world according to his will. This enrages our hero, and a fierce battle begins between the two. However, the gang leader is cunning. While pretending to engage in a direct fight, he secretly prepares a trap. He plants a bomb in the area, intending to eliminate our hero entirely. Elsewhere, the heroine begins to grow anxious. She notices that too much time has passed without any sign of him returning. Trusting her instincts, she decides not to wait any longer. She goes after him, only to discover the dangerous situation he is trapped in. Without hesitation, she steps in. Drawing upon the mysterious power within her, she manages to disable the bomb just in time. Her actions not only save our hero but also give them a chance to continue fighting. At this critical moment, Mark makes a decision that changes everything. Overwhelmed by guilt and convinced that he is responsible for all the chaos, he chooses to take full responsibility. He declares that he will carry the bomb away from everyone and dispose of it where it cannot harm anyone. Before anyone can stop him, he says his goodbyes and takes the bomb with him, flying away into the sky. Our hero is left stunned, unable to process what just happened. He feels a deep sense of regret, realizing that just as he had begun to accept Mark as his brother, he might be losing him forever. The heroine cannot endure it either. Watching everything unfold breaks her emotionally. She sees her friends suffering, her loved one in danger, and now Mark sacrificing himself. The weight of it all becomes too much. In that moment of overwhelming pain, something inside her awakens. Her emotions trigger a transformation unlike anything anyone has ever seen. Her hidden power finally reveals itself in full force. The energy surrounding her is immense, and everyone present is left in shock. She becomes unstoppable. With this newfound strength, she turns against the remaining members of the Snake Gang. One by one, she strips them of their power, rendering them harmless. Their reign of terror comes to an end, and the threat they pose to the world is finally eliminated. After the battle, a sense of silence settles over everything. A week passes, allowing time for recovery and reflection. Life begins to return to normal, at least on the surface. During this time, the question of inheritance arises again. The family gathers, and this time the truth is openly acknowledged. The hero's mother steps forward and admits everything she had hidden before. She reveals his true identity, explaining that he is not what they believed him to be. Despite this, she stands firm in her decision. She tells everyone that what truly matters is not his origin but his character. He has proven himself through his actions, his willingness to protect others, his courage, and his sense of responsibility. In her eyes, he is the most suitable person to lead the family. After hearing this, the family finally accepts him as the rightful heir. Relieved and happy, our hero wants to share this moment with the heroine. But when he goes to find her, he is met with unexpected news. She has left, and no one knows where she went. This leaves him heartbroken. Time passes, and a full year goes by without any sign of her. Then, one ordinary day, fate intervenes. While visiting a restaurant, he sees someone familiar. It's her. At first, he can hardly believe it. Overcome with emotion, he approaches her and confesses that his feelings never changed. He tells her how much he missed her and asks just once more for another chance. And with that moment, their story comes to a quiet and emotional close.